Right then, hello everyone and welcome back to the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship. We are here for round number 4 of the 2021 Formula 2 Championship here in the south of France at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. Formula 2 is finally back and it will be the second series to tackle the Paul Ricard circuit this weekend, as we finally get the French Grand Prix weekend underway with 20 minutes of qualifying action coming to you live. My name is Miran in the commentary booth, and joining me for the first time this season, it is none other than Alex. Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Miran. It's great to be back in the commentary booth, and we should be in line for a very good race today at Paul Ricard as well. I mean, in real life, we don't really see much action here, but this is, after all, the ACOC, so hopefully we can get some interesting racing going on.
Yeah, and that is the thing about Paul Ricard. Contrary to in real life, we usually do get very, very good racing around here. Henry J. Brown is currently the first man out on track, as he's just about to start his flying lap of the circuit. And as he is just about to start his flying lap, it is time to go through the track. So, the circuit Paul Ricard, located near the commune of Le Castellet, near the city of Marseille in France. The track was opened in April of 1970 and was named after French businessman Paul Ricard, who funded the track. Back in the day, it was named one of the safest motor racing circuits in the world. It had a large industrial park, an airstrip, and a bunch of different track layouts as well. And the combination with the modern facilities and the climate of the track made it very popular for not only car racing, but for car testing as well. So you'd see a lot of manufacturers and a lot of racing teams as well test their cars around here. Formula 1 would come here for the first ever time in 1971 for the French Grand Prix, and ran all the way up until 1990 before it was moved to Magny-Cours. And then in the 90s and 2000s, the track mostly just saw national racing and a bit of bike racing as well. I believe you did have the French Motorcycle Grand Prix run all the way up until 1999 at Paul Ricard. But in 2018, following a renovation in the 2000s, the track was put back on the F1 calendar in 2018 and ran all the way up until 2022 before it was taken off the calendar. But this layout that we're running, which is the current layout with the Mistral chicane, so this is not the layout we ran yesterday. This is the layout, the 1C V2 layout as it is called. It is 5.842 kilometers long, 15 turns, and a race lap record of a 1:44.5. As yeah, we're just having the first few times on the board then, but yeah, this track, quite unusual for where its setting is, on an airstrip and on quite a flat piece of land. Doesn't have a lot of elevation, but the track is very, very wide, and I think poses for an interesting challenge, Alex.
Yeah, well, thanks to the track's wide layout, we could see plenty of overtakes down the straights and into the corners, since there's plenty of space for cars to make moves. And going back to what you said about it being such a safe track, I think that would be a fair enough judgment, considering there's so much runoff here.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see that abrasive tarmac runoff at the ends of the track. Doesn't really mean that you'll get beached, but it is going to hurt the tires quite significantly. Either way, as we're just having the first few times on the board then, we just saw Tobias Schulenberg slot in between Thunjatorn Konkum and Michael Valjak. Valjak coming off his race win at Baku. We'll see what he is going to be able to do today. As the championship especially the top 4, is looking very, very close at the moment. Rodrigo Jimenez, as we're now looking at the matter of fact, he is leading the championship 1 point ahead of Axel Socki in second, and the Norwegian in his debut season having an incredible first 3 races so far. And then you've had you had Michael Valjak throw his hat into the ring with his win at Baku. He sits 3rd in the championship, and then you had Henry J. Brown, who won at Barcelona, 4th, only 15 points off Jimenez. So any of these 4 drivers, I think if they get a good result here today, I think we could maybe have a new championship leader potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Because these 4 have been probably the standout drivers this season, and not to forget the 2 drivers behind them in Tunyaton Konkum and Gabriel Gomez in 5th and 6th, who are only 8 points behind Henry J. Brown. So those 2 could provide a bit of an upset to that top 4 if they can find themselves some good results today. And as you can see, Konkum is already in 2nd, about a 10th behind Nikol Walji.
Yeah, it is Nikol Walji who currently sits on provisional pole, in fact. The first provisional times have been put on the board. And as you said, Alex, Konkum in 2nd, and then Tobias Schwulenberg in 3rd. Schwulenberg, who's yet to score points this season, has come to a bit of a slow start. Same with Nikol Walji. So maybe this will be the turning point for them potentially. Who knows? Either way, this track, if we look at the previous pole sitters last season, it was Remus McGregor for HWA Race Lab who took pole position around here. Obviously now he isn't racing this season. And then turning back the clock even further, Emil Nilsson took pole here in 2019 for UNI Virtuosi. And then in 2018, I believe it was Kai Cherezhnia, if I am not mistaken. So, yeah, no standout team or standout performers at this track, really. So I think it is going to be a level playing field.
Yeah, anyone's game, really, because, Walji, currently on provisional pole, only scoring 2 points this season, with his first points actually coming at the last race in Baku. So if Walji could get pole today, then I reckon he could pose a really big upset to the big championship rivals, as it seems at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see. Nikol Walji, obviously a really consistent and solid driver on his day. He's really proven that by holding the record for the most podiums in Formula 2. Obviously, I guess that is also thanks to his longevity in the Formula 2 series. But I think you still can't deny that he's a really good driver on his day. As we're just about to see Gabriel Gomez come across the line, then let's see where the Brazilian's going to be able to lift himself. The only man to score points in all 3 races currently sits P6 in the championship. He just went across the line and sits in P9. And this is the thing also that we learned about F2 and Spec Series as a whole, Alex. Consistency is the name of the game over just raw pace.
Yeah, because take Henry J. Brown, for example, because despite the fact he is in 4th, he only has 1 point finished to his name, which is his win in Spain. And the other 2 races he didn't score a single point in. So, yeah, maybe Gabriel Gomez could eventually catch up with the top 4 and prove that consistency is in fact the way to go in Formula 2.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see throughout the rest of the season what he is going to be able to do. And obviously, considering there's so much time left in this season, it really does beg the question of who is going to be able to throw their hat into the ring. Even those who have gotten off to slow starts could potentially pose a very big championship threat at the end of the season.
Yeah, and going back to the point of Gomez being the only driver to score points in every race, that is actually incorrect, as second place in the championship, Axel Socki has also scored in points in every race, with 2 P2s in Bahrain and Baku, and an 8th place in Spain.
Oh, I actually did miss that. Thank you for the correction. Either way, as we're just looking at Nikhil Walji, then the man in provisional polls just about to go across the line, and he doesn't improve, isn't able to stretch an advantage or an even bigger advantage over the field just yet. So we'll have to wait and see. Then currently in these 12 minutes, he's been sitting pretty atop everyone else. But yeah, the question that I think will be raised then is if anyone is going to be able to top that lap time, and if yes, then the question is when.
Yeah, well, we should see a lot of quicker times towards the end of the session, as we have now passed the halfway mark, and again, like you said, it is a level playing field. So really, anyone down to Jean-Francois below him last could end up in pole position, as we continue to watch Hakan Olsen going round Paul Ricard now. I think he's entering the final corner, exiting the final corner now, and he is 21st at the moment. And can he improve on his time? No, he can't. 156, around a tenth off his best of a 155.
Yeah, there's Tobias Schwulenberg up into second with that lap, but Dams, I think you really have to feel for them at the moment. P21 and P22 in what is their home race, and Jean-Francois Bilot's home race as well. This is probably not how they would want their qualifying to go, as we're looking at Tobias Schwulenberg. He's going to battle with that's one of the Red Bull Academy cars. Difficult to point out which one is which, considering we have 4 of them on this year's grid.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's an entire team made up of Red Bull Academy drivers, and I'm really sure it's either High Tech or Carlin. I can't quite recall. I think it is High Tech though, because I saw a regular Carlin car out there somewhere.
Yeah, I think that is Ollie Boaks, because there's the Uralkali sponsor on the rear wing, and I think that belongs to the High Tech. Yeah, we're just seeing the other Red Bull liveried car, Ida Weitz. In the Carlin, his teammate currently sits at the top of the timing sheet, and I think the Swede will love to join him up there at the top. Obviously, he took pole at Baku last time out, but just wasn't able to convert it into a podium. So yeah, he's I think feeling a bit bitter after Baku, but we'll just see if he is going to be able to get a bit of a victory feeling here at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, as we see him going through the last corner now. Oh, he's pulling off to the side. He's going in the pits.
Oh, anticlimactic ending to that lap then, as we now look at the MP Motorsport driver Thunjatorn Konkum. Holds 1 podium in 3 races, currently sits in P3, so he's just about to go across the line. No improvement for Thunjatorn Konkum. He stays in P3 as going on to provisional pole. Finally, someone dethrones Nikhil Walji, and it is Adam Hidayat in the Trident. Now that is quite unexpected, but the American-Indonesian driver has gone into provisional pole.
Yeah, it's an absolutely stonking lap as well, around just under 2 tenths ahead of Walji as well, so that lap is going to take some beating. But yeah, very unexpected result. Very unexpected to see Hidayat at the top of the timesheets as it seems, as he is 16th in the standings.
Yeah, this could be interesting. Adam Hidayat, obviously, who several years ago became the first ever Formula 2 pole sitter, all the way back at the 2017 Bahrain Grand Prix, with Trident as well. So yeah, good lap though from Adam Hidayat with 5 minutes to go, and we'll just have to see if that might just be the definitive pole time, or if anyone else is going to be able to challenge that, as Henry J. Brown now goes up into P4. So good lap from Henry J. Brown.
Yeah, Henry J. Brown asserting his well, bid to maybe win a championship in P4, as we see Nico Wolji looking to try and best Hidayat, as we see Ollie Boakes move up into 4th place now with a 149.7. So,
Yeah.
and I'll quickly touch on Nico Wolji again, as he will want to try and topple Adam Hidayat to take back pole position. As we go to the championship leader, well, momentarily, as we go back to Aaron Curtis, who moves his way up into 10th, improving on his lap time, and provides a 151, moving into the top 10 now.
Yeah, as we're just going to go on board with the championship leader, Rodrigo Jimenez, then, for a lap of the circuit, Paul Ricard. So we head down into the first corner. Bit of a long left-hander with a late apex as you try and set up the car for turn 2 just immediately. And then you make your way down this little little straightaway down into turn number 3, Hotel, as it is called, through turn 4. Slow, or medium to slow left-handers head into sharp right-handers of turn 5 and 6. So it opens up a bit more here through this little kink of Mistral and then down the Mistral straight, as it is called, and you want to make sure to get a really good exit out of turn 6 and 7, so you can maybe launch a move on the car ahead, heading into the Montreal chicane, turn number 8, and then 9. The corner just comes at you so fast. Yeah, you can't really break that late, otherwise you're going to completely overshoot it. As you head out of the chicane, once again important to get a good exit into Senior, turn number 10. Fast right-hander as you head into another fast right-hander, Bosse, turn number 11, and this one just goes on and on and on. 2 apexes here as you head out of turn 11 into Bendor, turn number 11 then, as we head into sector 3, which obviously gets a bit more flowy compared to sectors 1 and 2, through Garlabon and then into Lac, turn number 14. Late apex as well there as you head into the final corner. Sharp right-hander of turn number 15, Pont. And Jimenez is actually not going to finish up the lap. In fact, he's going to come into the pit lane. Michael Wallach is going to take us across the line then, as he currently sits in P8. And he does not improve. So that is a lap of the circuit, Paul Ricard.
Yeah, we has during the onboard we saw Rosetta Martinez actually move up into 5th place, just slightly ahead of Henry J. Brown, and Alex Luan himself has moved up into the top 10, and Jean-Francois Bilot is into 12th now, so a big improvement from from pretty much stone dead last. So Bilot into the midfield now, as we see, as he has actually been topped by Gabriel Gomez, as Shotanus moves into 17th himself. And yeah, so as I said before, a lot of movement around the field in the dying embers of qualifying.
Yeah, it is usually the dying moments of qualifying where things do tend to get a bit more interesting. Jean-Francois Bilot at least being able to lift it off as Dams. I was just about to speak about them. Håkon Olsen's gone into provisional pole by 1,000th of a second. Desperation has turned into hope for Dams, as their driver has just stuck it onto provisional pole with 40 seconds to go by 1,000th. It does not get closer than that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely not. That must have been an absolutely stellar try from Håkon Olsen to pull that out. I mean, yeah, only 1,000th in it, but wow, absolutely brilliant from the Dams driver, and this could be the turning of their fortunes this season. But Hidayat is still out on track with 10 seconds to go, so he could be the one to possibly take back his pole position.
Yeah, there is a lot of guys in the pit lane at the moment. Walji, Boakes, Martinez, Brown, and Konkum. I think we should mention Ollie Boakes in P5 as well. But now the checker flag has fallen, and we're going to have the final few cars across the line. Alex Luan might have just been blocked there by Jake Tillisley, and he was slowed down massively there into the final corner. He's not going to get an improvement. What about the home hero, Jean-Francois Bilot? Up into 9th he goes, and into the points. That could be a potential top 10 starting position for Jean-Francois Bilot. So next across the line is Gabriel Gomez. Has scored points in every single race so far. He goes up into P12. and that's only all he can muster. Shotan is next across the line, and then it is Tobias Schwulenberg in 4th. What is he going to be able to do with this lap? No improvement for Tobias Schwulenberg, and the Prema man stays in 4th. Looking at the
as we see now, Zakauskas going through the final corner and onto the main straight. He pulls out and he's into 3rd with a 1:49.6. Brilliant lap from Zakauskas.
Brilliant lap from the Lithuanian, and he is going to be elated with that one. But we're going to see Adam Hidayat. Is he going to be able to take back his pole position? No! He is not able to do it, and he will start 2nd at best here at Paul Ricard. And I have to say, that is a frustrating feeling for Adam Hidayat, as he has had pole taken away from him by 1/1000th of a second. But I shouldn't speak just yet, as we still have 2 cars yet to cross the line, one of them being Aaron Curtis. The Irishman's going to come across the line. No improvement for Curtis. And Michael Valjak is going to be the final man across the line, who currently sits in P11. What is the Croatian going to be able to pull out with this lap as he goes across the line? No improvement for Valjak. He stays P11. And that is it then. And on pole position here at Paul Ricard, Håkon Olsen is back on top, and he takes it by 1/1000th of a second to start on pole here at the French GP.
Yeah, Adam Hidayat will be absolutely furious with that, because 1/1000th of a second, that is all it took for Håkon Olsen to snatch pole away from the American-Indonesian driver. But yeah, this should be one hell of a race if we're seeing Olsen and Hidayat line up on the front row.
Yeah, it is an unusual top 2, I have to say. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see. Or it's going to be interesting to see how it is going to play out. But now that it is time to go through the starting grid then for 22 laps of action here at Le Castellet. And it is Håkon Olsen on pole position. I can't actually recall the last time he was on pole. But it has been a while. So he starts P1, and accompanying on the front row, Adam Hidayat in the Trident. Jakuba Zakauskas starts in 3rd, with Nikhil Walji in 4th for Carlin, as Tobias Schwulenberg takes P5 with Ollie Boaks in 6th. Rosetta Martinez is 7th, with Henry J. Brown in 8th. Thunitorn Konkum will take 9th, with Jean-Francois Bilot rounding out the top 10, and then Michael Valjak in 11th.
Moving on to the bottom half of the grid, with 12th we have the Finnish driver Ari Soilu in 12th, with in 13th behind him is Gabriel Gomez. In 14th we've got the Vietnamese Alex Luan, and in 15th, a pretty disappointing qualifying today for Rodrigo Jimenez. He'll have to see what he can do from 15th. In 16th we have Aaron Curtis. In 17th, Huang Min Nguyen. In 18th we got Jake Tildesley. 19th, Rowan Chatanas. 20th, Ida Weitz. 21st, a very shocking performance today from Axel Soki. He'll have a lot of work to do from 21st, and rounding out the grid is a bit of a disappointing one. Podium finisher in Spain, Richard Sundevik.
Yeah, that is the grid set then, and we're gonna get underway now as the lights are coming on. Olsen on pole position for 22 laps around Le Castellet. And we're underway here in France. Good start for Olsen, but I think Hidayat got away just momentarily better, and he is going to try it to the inside line of the Norwegian as we head down into turn number 1 then. Zakauskas and Waldi side by side for 3rd there as well in the background, as Hidayat is going to try to go the long way around into turn number 2 as they are wheel to wheel heading down into turn number 3. Olsen's going to have the inside line heading into Hotel. Hidayat tries to go as wide as possible to try and get the Norwegian for the race lead, and through turn number 4, Adam Hidayat takes the lead of the French Grand Prix.
Yeah, but for how long though, as Olsen is still chasing him down, but he will need to watch out for Zakauskas behind him, because he is looking very dangerous, fending off from Nikhil Walji. Going down into the Mistral straight now, we see a lot of side-by-side action already on the first lap, as back in the midfield as we ride with Ollie Boaks, and we're back to the view of Zakauskas. He's going to go down the inside into the chicane. He has a look, but I think Olsen's going to be able to hang it around the outside, and he holds on to P2 for now.
I think Zakauskas might have got a better exit heading out of chicane, and yeah, he is going to go to the inside line through Senior, side by side with the Norwegian, as they go wheel to wheel through the fast right-hander into turn number 11. Zukauskas hangs it on the inside line, trying to make the move stick. Olsen tries his best defending from the young Lithuanian in the ART, as the two go wheel to wheel. Nikhil Walji there in the background is trying to pick up the scraps from this battle as well. See if he can maybe make up a position there as well. But Zukauskas is going to try and get up into second. Walji tried to have a look there, but ultimately it is the Lithuanian going up into second, as Walji is going to try on the inside. Late lunge from the Canadian, as it is going all wrong for Håkon Olsen here. This is not the start the Norwegian was hoping for from pole position, as he is now potentially facing to drop out of the podium.
Yeah, and if Walji does get past, Olsen has even more trouble behind him, as Ollie Boakes is close behind and looking pretty interested in this battle, hoping he can possibly pick up 2 positions for the price of 1. Because if these two come together, then it may be game over for them both, as Olsen is able to defend around the outside, but Walji is still there. He's going to look down the inside this time, and I think Olsen is going to hang on for now, but Walji will have the help of a huge slipstream down the Mistral Straight.
Ooh.
And
actually there, Alex, I'm sorry to cut in, but I think Walji got a bit of a poor exit out of turn number 7, and I think that might just give Ollie Boakes the advantage to try something. Never mind, I retract my statement, as Nikhil Walji is going to try it onto Olsen. Boakes is going to try to take advantage of this now, as he's going to go onto Walji, and Nikhil had to just back out of it in the final second, and Boakes goes round the outside, pulls off a beautiful move, took the advantage perfectly, and goes up into P4.
yeah, great confidence from Boakes. He's going to try and go down the inside of Olsen now to try and take another position. He's going to go for the fast right-hander, and he's on the inside, so he may be able to make a dive for P3. But Olsen is defending quite well at the moment. But Boakes is still there. But Boakes, brilliant confidence through the chicane there to take it around the outside of Nikhil Walji, who is seemingly under threat from Tobias Schwullenberg in P6.
Yeah, Schwulenberg trying to go on the outside line here, heading into the final corner. He's going to have the inside, though, as the two side by side through the final corner and heading down the start-finish straight. I think Walji got the better exit on the outside there, and he did. So he's going to be able to defend from the German for the time being, but I think Tobias is going to try to keep the Canadian company for as long as possible to try and get past him.
Yeah, and eventually he may be able to get past us. I think DRS would be enabled on this lap, so Schuldenberg is actually going to have a look down the inside of Walji now, going into turn 3, I believe this is. But yeah, Schuldenberg has fallen back a little bit, and he will have to hang behind in P6 for the time being, as we see Henry J. Brown on the inside of Rosetta Martinez heading towards the Mistral Straight, and he is going to hang behind, but he will have DRS on this straight.
Yeah, and all these guys will be stuck in a bit of a DRS train now. Now there's so many people close together. Henry J. Brown is going to try to go into Rosetta Martinez. Down the inside goes Henry J. Brown, as they are side by side through turn 8. Brown there is going to be able to hold it off on the outside. Tunjatorn Konka thought about it on the inside. Wasn't able to pull it off though. And now Mihail Valyak, who's got himself into the points, could try something here, as Brown is side by side with Martinez. Then on the inside through Senior as they go wheel to wheel. Brown still holding on the inside line. Martinez trying to put on the best defensive work that he can as they wheel to wheel through turn number 12.
Yeah, a lot of battles already now, as Henry J. Brown is passed, but Martinez is now in big trouble again, as Funyaton Konkum is trying to pull off a move as well, and going into the final turn, and I think he's got it done, but Martinez is still there. But they are going to go side by side down to turn 1, so it is going to be a matter of who breaks latest.
Yeah, and into turn one, we're going to have our questions answered now. I think it was Rosetta Martinez, but Konkum has the better traction on the outside line there through turn number one. He's going to get the inside into turn two and now turn number three. As we go down into the run into turn number three, it's going to be Konkum on the inside as the two fight each other through turns 3 and 4, and it is going to be Martinez who comes out on top just about as Konkum tries a last-ditch late-breaking maneuver there through turn number 5, but it is going to be, I think, Martinez on the inside line there who's about to hold him off. No, Konkum still holds it wheel to wheel. Incredible battling we're having here, and out of nowhere comes Martinez's teammate Mihail Valiak, who could make it 3 wide here unless anyone is going to back out into the corner. And we head into turn number 8, and oh, there's contact between the two teammates. In fact, Martinez will not be happy about his championship contender teammate doing that, as Studiator Konkum has just gotten up into 8th and now holds the advantage as he is putting the squeeze on Studiator Konkum into Senior. Martinez is on the inside. Absolutely incredible scenes we're witnessing here at Paul Ricard as Martinez and Konkum have been side by side for a lap. Valiak now facing the consequences of his error as Jean-Francois Bilot drops him out of the points. Martinez then is going to try to go around the outside line to try and get Studiator Konkum through turn 13. I can't hold my breath here.
Yeah, I'll give you a break now, but as we can see, still side by side into the last corner, but I think finally Konkum has got the move done, but Martinez is still there. And yes, Konkum's finally managed to get the move done and is finally in PA, but he has lost a lot of time to Henry J. Brown. And the rest of the field is already bunched up, and a massive DRS train could end up forming, as we see Rodrigo Jimenez, the current championship leader, trying to get past Aaron Curtis to no avail. As we see Volyak trying to make a move to get back into the points and back behind his teammate Rosetta Martinez, but Jean-Francois Bilot is able to defend on the outside, for now at least.
Yeah, the seasoned veteran in his home race, currently holding back the young up-and-comer Mihail Valiak, as yeah, I think Valiak was a bit too rash with his thinking there as they headed into the chicane. Shouldn't have really made it 3 wide and had to face the consequences as a result. So we're now looking a bit further back. We're looking at Gabriel Gomez, who's chasing down Ari Soiler, but I have to say the battles have been fantastic so far. Really have demonstrated what Formula 2 is all about. These close battles with all the drivers not wanting to give an inch to each other.
Yeah, thanks to, well, equal performance in the cars, we do see a lot of close battling, but the performance does in fact come down to the drivers. But towards the front, there's not really much going on, as Hidayat has pulled a 2-second gap over Zakaushkas in second, and Olsen is 2 seconds behind Zakaushkas himself. So really, the main battle for anything at the front is for that P3 spot with Ollie Boakes. As we see him now, he is going to have DRS, but I think he may be a little bit too far, just a bit far back to try anything on Hakon Olsen. But he does have a look down the inside, but he is way too far back to think about anything other than sticking behind the Norwegian, as he remains P4. Wolji is still close behind though in that Carlin in P5, so this could be a three-way battle for the final podium spot.
It is going to be interesting to see what's going to happen then. Ollie Boakes, I think this is the thing, obviously, when you're stuck behind a car that's so much slower, you just aren't able to find that little push to get past the driver ahead. It really is frustrating, and I think Boakes will probably be feeling the pressure of Nikhil Walji behind, as Walji himself is probably a bit bitter right now about losing out on the podium as well.
Yeah, he will be driving with a bit of anger today, but he is looking very, very good for a very good top 10 finish, and which would be his second consecutive points finish this season. But I don't think he would want to stop at P5 because he's got two cars ahead of him within a second of each other.
Yeah, it is going to be really, really interesting to see what's going to happen here, as Walji is about 4/10 of a second to Ollie Boaks. And the question will be then, I think Walji, or well, not really a question, but I think what Walji is hoping for here at the most is that Boaks just drops back a little bit further and just drops outside of the 1 second range to Olsen, so that he's able to get the DRS. And well, I guess the rest is just kind of self-explanatory, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm just moving a bit forward to Håkon Olsen. He is actually gaining time on Sikorskas, as that gap has dropped to nearly 1 second from when I last mentioned it. So Olsen very nearly was within touching distance of Sikorskas' DRS. So he could potentially take back that P2 he lost at the start of the race. And
I think it's all about, really, I think Boaks had very, very good pace in the opening stages of the race, purely because he was able to capitalize off those first lap chaos. But now that everyone started settling into the rhythm and settling into the gaps, I think for some people it's going to be difficult to keep up on raw pace alone.
yeah, as we go back to the championship leader, Rodrigo Jimenez, he is still stuck behind the Irishman Aaron Curtis, but he is looking a bit closer to the rear wing of that Campos, and could be making his move anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll see if he's going to be able to do it. At the moment, then Rodrigo Jimenez, this will probably not be the result he was hoping for, but I think he'll take at least a bit of I think it'll be at least a bit of consolation for him, considering his closest rival Axel Socki is out of the points as well. I believe the only men in the top 4 at the moment is Valjak and Brown, and none of them are really in touching distance to take the lead of the championship.
I will actually double check this now. No, as it stands, Valjak isn't actually in the points, but Henry J. Brown would only take 6 points, which would only move him up to 3rd as things stand. As we do actually take a look at his battle with Schuldenberg in P6 now, the Portuguese driver looking to go back ahead of Schuldenberg, as I believe he was actually overtook a couple of laps ago. So the Portuguese driver will be wanting a bit of vengeance for that position he lost.
Yeah, Henry, I think, does realize how important these points will be, considering he's in the fight for the championship at the moment. As we said, obviously, he won't be able to challenge for the lead of the championship, but every single point will still matter for the Portuguese man in his hunt to try and win the F2 championship.
Yeah, absolutely. As we continue to see him chasing down the German Prema driver through turn 10, as we go back to Ollie Boats, who is still chasing Håkon Olsen through the winding section of Paul Ricard. This is a very technical part of the circuit, so you would need to keep your wits about you and not lose traction and spin off, because you want to especially in that dirty air as well. So, as well, he also has to defend from Walji as well as attack Olsen. So, pretty huge battle going on for Ollie Boaks here to stay in P4.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see then for Ollie Boaks. He is in quite the predicament at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see what is going to happen out of this. You just saw, I don't know if you saw that, Alex, but on the start-finish straight there, Håkon Olsen did actually have the DRS flap engaged, so Olsen might actually be gaining a bit on Jakub Sikorskas, and well, that is not good news that is bad news for both Ollie Boaks and Michael Walji, because that means they'll just all be stuck in a DRS train.
Yeah, absolutely. As Sikorskas has been looking a little bit slow as in these past few laps, as Olsen did have the DRS flap opened, but Olsen has once again dropped back to around 1.2 seconds now, so Sikorskas seems to be sighing, well, breathing a sigh of relief as of now. But Olsen is looking a bit dangerous. But then again, he has slowed down a bit. So for now, Zakauskas is able to, well, breathe easy for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see how that situation is gonna unfold. But at the moment, yeah, Adam Hedayat has an absolutely gargantuan lead over the rest of the field, 2.7 ahead of Jakubas Zukauskas. So the American-Indonesian has breathing room between himself and everyone else. So yeah, he can take it easy for a few laps, I do suppose. But it's important not to be caught napping. I guess that's one way to say it.
Yeah, well, the main focus of this race has actually been in the midfield, as we see Jean-François Bilot still trying to get past Rosetta Martinez in P9, who was dropped back massively from Funyaton Konkum after their almost 2-lap long battle. So yeah, the main points of interest in this race has been in the midfield, as most cars are within a second of each other, forming a huge DRS train from 10th place Jean-François Bilot back to Rowan Chatanas, who is 22nd.
Yeah, it is quite a big train then, but we'll see what is going to happen here. All it takes in a DRS train, obviously, one little mistake, one just something happening could result in a spark setting off just a train of different events happening. So yeah, if one person could try, maybe one person makes a mistake in such a close pack, another man's gonna try a move on that person who made a mistake, and then everything's just gonna kick off. We've seen it happen several times in F2, and there's nothing that doesn't lead me to believe that it's gonna happen again.
Yeah, as we once again return to the midfield battle with Ari Soilu, and Michal Volyak has actually dropped out of Bilot's DRS, so Jean-François Bilot has actually broken DRS from Michal Volyak, so Volyak is looking a bit slow at the moment, but who knows what's going on in that Virtuosi car. But Ari Soilu is seemingly looking a bit interested in this, but Volyak may not be staying out of that DRS range for long, because he is back to about just over a second, and has actually broken back to 9/10. So I think he may have that DRS flap open. Yes, he does. So Ari Soilu had his hopes up for a second there that Volyak was looking a bit slow, and actually back to the top three. And Olsen is back in the DRS of Zakauskas. He is 7/10 behind. So Zakauskas, well, maybe took it too easy for those past few laps.
And then I think the question will be if Håkon Olsen is going to be able to try and make an effort to get back up into second. And if he is able to do that in the coming few laps, then with this newfound pace, he could maybe try and chase down Adam Hedayat. I might be getting a bit too ahead of myself, really, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. But Hedayat does have that near enough 3-second gap on the rest of the field. So, but Hedayat has, well, seemed to be lapping consistently. So, and well, consistently quicker than everyone else because of all that clean air ahead of him. But yeah, Olsen has looked pretty racy in these past few laps. So he could be looking pretty optimistic for the rest of this race if he can just get past the Lithuanian.
Yeah, we'll just see what is going to happen as we go back to the battle for P6 between Henry J. Brown and Tobias Schwulenberg, as it's the Portuguese man versus the German man in the Prema. And we go back to the battle for the podium then. Olsen looking close now to Zukauskas. He's just got to focus about keeping this gap consistent and not making any silly mistakes. And then he will definitely be able to punch his way past the Lithuanian.
Yeah, not close enough on that occasion, but he is much closer than he was on the last lap. He's now under 5/10 of a second, so I think his sights will be set on an overtake down the Mistral straight and into the chicane, or maybe just after. But Håkan Olsen is very much on attack mode on Zakauskas, who is definitely feeling the pressure of the Norwegian Dams driver. As here we go, and he has the DRS is open, and he is gaining, but I don't think he'll be quite close enough to make a move into the chicane. He just needs to focus on how he actually takes it, and he needs to get a good exit and to get a good run into the fast right-hander. And I think he may have got a bit of a poor exit compared to Zakauskas, and he is going to have to stay behind in P3 for another lap, it seems.
Yeah, he did. He lost about 1/10 of a second on exit, so I think Olsen is just going to have to hope to pull off a move there into that corner, I think.
Yeah, and he is still quite close behind, so Zakauskas, it isn't over yet for Jakubas Zakauskas, so he still has a lot of work to do to fend off the Norwegian, who is looking on fire today to take back the positions he lost on lap 1.
Yeah, this is interesting. You can see he lost a lot of time through those final corners as well. On that last lap, he was 3/10 slower than Jakubas Zakauskas, but he's just immediately gained that back in the first few corners. So yeah, I think the question will be, because we've seen this often as well, drivers getting really close within striking distance of the drivers ahead, but they just keep making silly errors, which see them not being able to get past the driver, and then they burn their tires way too much behind them, and then they just drop back and aren't able to contend for the position any longer.
Yeah, absolutely, and we are back to the midfield battles now, as we see Michal Valyak has broken DRS on Ari Soilu and is right up the gearbox of Jean-Francois Bilot in P10. So he might be trying to break into the points to possibly extend, to possibly, I think, take the lead of the championship, but I would need to check that. But
Valyak, no.
Right, yeah, I think he's just a bit too far back to actually contend for the championship at this stage. But this would, I believe, be to stay ahead of Henry J. Brown.
Yeah, you're correct on that. This would be to stay ahead of Henry J. Brown. So Valyak will definitely be needing this position, at least for the time being, unless anything changes up there in Henry J. Brown's positions.
Yeah, because I think as it stands, Henry J. Brown would gain 5 points on Valyak, and they'll be level pegging going into the British Grand Prix. So it would actually come down to countback, I believe.
Yeah, it would, and I think that would go to Valyak. I'm not sure. Either way, we go back to the battle for second between Olsen and Zakauskas. Håkan Olsen is looking decently close to the back of that ART car. So it is about 4/10 between the two. He's going to have the DRS to his aid as well, with the slipstream as well. Is he going to be able to get close enough into the chicane? No. And I think that is going to have to be Håkan Olsen staying behind for another lap.
Yeah, because he has lost time on the exit again, and this time quite substantially as well, because, well, who knows, he could be getting severely held up by the dirty air of Zakauskas, and now this is forming into a bit of a train now, as Ollie Boaks is pretty much an equal gap behind Olsen at the moment. So yeah, I think a train is beginning to form, but but Zakauskas is slowly gaining time on Hidayat as the gap has dropped back below 3 seconds to around 2.7, 2.6. So Hidayat might be slowing down just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I have to say for Adam Hidayat, I don't think it's really. I think he can afford to breathe a little bit, considering he's been keeping a very, very consistent pace over these last 15 laps. I think you have to commend him for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he has been the standout driver as it goes today, with so far a very dominant performance. It's just a matter of whether he can continue to be as dominant as he is showing he can be now. As the battle for P2 still very much going on, but I don't think anything appears to be happening as of now.
Yeah. We'll see if Olsen's going to be able to try it this lap then, as he heads down the start-finish straight. DRS engaged for the Norwegian. I don't think he's close enough, but he could prove me wrong here as we head down into the chicane, and I was right then. He is not close enough, and you could probably imagine how it feels for Olsen. I think you've got to imagine he is feeling a bit frustrated, but he seems to have actually got a good exit here for once. And yeah, he is going to try it into Senior. Here we go then, as Olsen's going to have a look on the inside, but isn't able to go up and alongside Zhukauskas, I don't think. And yeah, he has to stay behind. So hasn't been able to get into a proper battle with him, but it is progress for Håkon Olsen.
Yeah, definitely progress, and definitely very important progress for the Norwegian. So this means that he could potentially an overtake is very much coming from the Norwegian. Just a matter of when.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait patiently then to see if Håkon Olsen's going to be able to do anything then, because this is pretty big progress from the Norwegian. But again,
and we are getting into the closing stages of this race now, so if he wants to make a move, he needs to do it pretty soon.
Then again as well, as we did previously state, the first rule of DRS Train Club is to not talk about DRS Train Club, and the second rule is, if someone slips up to a mistake, that means that the person behind is almost certain to try and move on them. So for Olsen right now, it's really, really important not to make any silly little errors, especially when you've got Ollie Boaks so close behind now.
Yeah, and Boaks is definitely must be preying on a Håkon Olsen mistake, but for now he is going to have to hold position and stay in P4 as we once again go back to that battle for P10 between Valyak and Jean-Francois Pilot. Again, this is actually I think Valyak would actually stay ahead of Brown but lose positions to Hidayat because he is winning the race, but I may be wrong on that. But yeah, Valyak still around 4 tenths behind Jean-Francois Pilot in 11th, so he must be starting to get a bit frustrated with the Frenchman.
Yeah, it is gonna be interesting to see with this, but Valyak I think will be a bit disappointed by not being able to secure a points finish if he isn't able to get past Jean-Francois Pilot.
Yeah, and I think I can say that Adam Hidayat would actually move all the way up to 3rd if he does win today and results stay as they are.
And obviously that would be absolutely incredible for the Trident driver as well, because to my memory he's never been properly competing for a championship, and this could maybe give him a really, really big run of motivation heading into the mid-season.
Yeah, and if you just look at the gap now, Zakauskas is pretty much almost in DRS range of Hidayat, so something must be going horribly wrong with the American driver. Maybe it's a case of commentator's curse, but yeah, Zakauskas very, very dangerously close to that DRS range, and Olsen and Boaks may have realized this now as we are watching car number 5 in P5, Nico Wolji, still behind Ollie Boaks, and Sakauskas is, I think, within DRS range. No, he's not just yet, but he seems to have gotten, I think, a poor exit compared to Hidayat, so Hidayat breathing easy for now, but he will have Sakauskas breathing down his neck for the coming final 4 laps of this race, so we could have a very interesting battle for the lead on our hands here.
Yeah, this could be very, very interesting. Adam Hidayat, who seems to have been untouchable throughout this entire weekend almost, could now face pressure in the dying embers of this race from Jokubas Zukauskas.
Yeah, and this could be huge for the Lithuanian as well, because he could gain some pretty big positions going up the field with a race win, but he will still do that even if he is even in second. But a win for the Lithuanian would be absolutely monumental for his season.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting to see then, as he has closed in within a second, but he's only got about 4 laps to do it, Alex. So the question is if he's even gonna have the time to close up to Hidayat and make a move.
Yeah, well, he seems to have actually gained some. I guess the only way to say it would be second win, because he's actually broken DRS on Hakan Olsen, and he is now very much fixed on chasing after Hidayat. So Hakan Olsen has fallen out of Zakauskas's DNS, which has left him pretty vulnerable to Ollie Boaks in P4. So Olsen might just lose a podium place.
Yeah, and Boaks has waited really, really patiently for this opening. So we'll just have to see if he is going to be rewarded for his patience. But for the time being, then it is the status quo that's been held in the top 3, as Boaks behind has got Walji there as well. So it is close, this battle for third.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no room for mistakes as well, because if you lose one position, you might just lose another, like you said before. So, but yeah, Olsen is very much out of Zakauskas's DRS, so I'm not sure what's happened there. Either Olsen's going slowly or Zakauskas has found some pace we haven't seen before, but yeah, it's looking very, very, very interesting in these last few laps, because we thought that Olsen might be the one to overtake Zakauskas, but it seems like he is the one in danger himself.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see then. Håkon Olsen, I think, as he was obviously trying to push to get Jokubas Zukauskas, he's just having to back off now, and Ollie Boaks has taken the opportunity perfectly, and he is really putting the pressure on Olsen. I think the Norwegian actually ran a bit wide there. I don't know if you saw that, Alex, but it looked to me that Olsen was a bit wide out of turn 2.
Yeah, either that or Boaks just got a pretty slow exit, and because Walji is closed up massively to the Brit, and Walji is looking pretty close as well. So, like we said, this could be a 3-way battle for the final podium spot, as Boaks is going to open up the DRS. It's just a matter of if he's close enough into the chicane. He's closer. He's pulling out. He's going to have a look down the inside of the first part of the chicane. He's side by side with the Norwegian, but I think the Norwegian's able to defend for now, and Hakan Olsen is still in P3, just about, but Boaks is going to have a second try into senior at turn 10 in this fast right-hander, and he goes down the inside, Olsen round the outside. He's defended for now, but Boaks very close there between the two drivers, but Boaks is going to have this inside line, and I think he was P3 momentarily, but he is going to hang it around the outside, almost going into the runoff to try and get a better exit, and I think he's done it. I think he has done it.
Yeah, and I think he might just have. Ollie Boaks round the outside steals the podium away from Håkon Olsen. Incredible battling between the two. There's Nikhil Walji's now trying to put the pressure, and here we go, Alex. This is what I was talking about. I think now things might just start to kick off, but Ollie Boaks just secures the podium position in the dying stages of the race. Great battle that was between the two. It's so close to contact as well. through turn number 11. Both drivers really pushing each other to the limit. It is what you love to see in Formula 2.
Yeah, it really is, and it could have got a very hairy. It got pretty hairy out through turn 11, because that could have ended pretty badly between those two. But yeah, Olsen will be absolutely devastated with that, and he will do pretty much anything he can to try and keep with Boaks. But as you can see there, he's already 8 tenths behind the Brit, and he's under attack from the Canadian Nickel Walgi now. So he might try and put that car number 5 out of P5 and into P4 this race.
Yeah, we'll see if Walgi will be the next man to get past Håkon Olsen. We'll just have to wait and see then. Ollie Boaks, at the moment, is out of DRS, so Olsen is going to have at least a bit of DRS to be able to fend for himself against Nikhil Walgi. As we are on lap 20 out of 22, Adam Hidayat, even though Jokubas Zukarskas has been getting very close to the back of the American and Indonesian driver, Hidayat has held the race lead for the time being. Zukarskas hasn't been able to do anything just yet.
Yeah, and as we can see, Walgi is, well, still within 5 tenths of Olsen, who has actually, I think, dropped out of Boaks' DRS going into the penultimate lap of this race. As we see, Walgi still trying to chase down the Norwegian going into turn 1, but I don't think he is quite close enough. Walgi, well, Olsen even, I think, just trying to break the slipstream there by moving to the left-hand side of the track. So, for now, it is Olsen leading from 4th from Walgi, and Tobias Schuldenberg close behind as well. So don't count him out of the battle as well.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. They've got about 2 laps to duke it out between each other. But at the moment, I think it's looking a bit unlikely for Walgi to do anything on Olsen. I might be wrong here, as he is about 4 tenths off Olsen, who doesn't have any DRS, mind you. So Nikhil Walgi, this could potentially be the perfect time for the Canadian to strike onto the Norwegian, but into the chicane, it isn't meant to be for Nikhil Walgi just yet.
Yeah, it just needs to focus on the exit now, because I think he may have got a bit of a better exit, because he... Oh, never mind, he's dropped back again.
Yeah, you would have thought he would have gotten a good exit, but he wasn't able to do it. And thus Håkon Olsen will be safe for at least until the end of this lap.
Yeah, and as you can... I mean, I'm just going to quickly touch on the top 2 battle now, as Zukarskas is within 5 tenths of Hidayat now. And this battle is... And this race lead battle could end up going to the very last lap.
Yeah, this is gonna be very, very interesting to see as they round the final corner. You can see how close Walgi is to Olsen. So I think now then it is do or die for Nikhil Walgi. He's gonna have to take every opportunity given to him. Same goes for Jokubas Zukarskas and Adam Hidayat. But judging by how this battle has gone, I think Hidayat is just gonna have to drive with the pace that he does right now, and he'll probably come home for a victory. But you can never be sure. You can never be sure in Formula 2.
Yeah, anything could happen in this series, and well, it has been a great race for Hidayat, but it did get a bit hairy from in the last few laps because of that insane drop of pace, or Zukarskas just learning how to speed up, really. But here we go. Zukarskas opens the DRS up. He is getting closer and closer and closer to the back of that trident, but he isn't quite close enough going into the chicane. So I think that might just be it for the Lithuanian. But then again, he needs to. But then again, all matters on the exit of the chicane. But I think he has lost time on Hidayat, so I think that will be it for the Lithuanian.
Yeah, unfortunately, tried his best there, but just wasn't able to. And I think it is going to be a bittersweet second place for Jokubas Zukarskas here at Le Castellet. So we're looking at the battle for what is essentially the wooden spoon. Rowan Shotanas and Jay Tillersley wheel to wheel through turn 11, or turn 10, sorry, this is turn 11 now. Sultanas is there on the inside line, wheel to wheel. They go then, heading out of turn 11 as Tillersley swings it on the outside line, but heading into the final corner then, and a very, very good drive from this man to secure his third career victory in Formula 2. Adam Hidayat wins the French Grand Prix. Jokubas Zukauskas takes second and Ollie Boak's third. So we're going to see the battle for P21 go to the line here. Tilsley's going to swing it around the outside line. And is he going to get it to the line? Yes, he is. He just gets P21 to round off the French GP.
Yeah, pretty interesting. There's plenty of battles, especially in the midfield. But Adam Hidayat was able to fend off from the charging Lithuanian today, and yeah, he has done it's been a very sterling drive from Batman in P1.
Yeah. But now then it is time to go through the final classifications. Then Adam Hidayat takes the win here, followed by Jokubas Zukauskas and Ollie Boaks rounding out the podium. Håkan Olsen finishes a bitter fourth with Nikhil Walji as well in fifth, but he does get the one extra point for fastest lap. Tobias Schulenberg takes sixth with Henry J. Brown in seventh. Thunius Konkum will be eighth with Rosetta Martinez in ninth, and then Jean-Francois Bilot rounding out the top 10.
And as we see, Michal Voyak in P11 missing out on points and actually losing out on third to Adam Hidayat, as we see, which will be very frustrating for the Croatian. Aris Soilu in 12th. Behind him was Gabriel Gomez in 13th. 14th is Alex Luan. 15th is the Irishman Aaron Curtis, who did keep Rodrigo Jimenez behind in 16th. A very disappointing race weekend for the championship leader. Hoang Minh Nguyen, the other Vietnamese driver on the grid, finishes 17th. Richard Sundevik improves from starting last, but only up to P18. Ida Weitz in P19. Another disappointing weekend for another championship rival in Sochi in 20th, and rounding out your race was the two drivers actually battling for the wooden spoon, with Jake Tilsley coming out victorious against Rowan Shatanas in the battle for 21st.
Yeah, and that has been it then for Formula 2 here today. Thank you so much for watching. But before we'll go, Alex, it is time to answer the age-old question of driver of the day. And personally, I'm a bit conflicted, but I think I'm going to give it to Ollie Boaks. I think he did very, very well in those opening laps, and when the race got a bit quieter, he kept a very, very consistent pace, kept himself very, very patient, and towards the end, pulled off a very nice move on Håkan Olsen as well to take third and come home with a very well-deserved podium, in my opinion. So he gets my driver of the day here at France.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to give my driver of the day to Zukauskas because, well, he did lose third place, but he did start third, but he was able to get past Olsen for second and very nearly got the race win as well, because he showed some brilliant pace towards the end of the race, and that was pretty good from the Lithuanian. So yeah, my driver today is Jokubas Zukauskas.
I feel like the first time in a long time we've actually been conflicted on driver of the day drivers, but yeah, it's always nice to have a bit of differing opinions. Either way, that has been it then for F2. Thanks so much for watching. But obviously, the action at Paul Ricard does not end. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the Formula 1 French Grand Prix at Circuit Paul Ricard as the F1 Championship action continues along as well. But until then, I have been Miran.
And I've been Alex.
Thank you for watching F2, and we will see you when we return for the Formula 1 French Grand Prix. Thank you.